It's a very good evening and welcome to Network. My name is Sphumelele Zondi. Tonight we'll tell you about biometric technology standards that South African banks can start using. We'll also meet a young man who has a disability and has been accepted to Oxford University with a full scholarship. He has started an online crowdfunding initiative so his nurse can join him at Oxford, as he cannot survive without 24-hour care. Nokia is talking about a relaunch of Nokia branded devices. They've been having a roadshow in South Africa about this. We'll chat to the Deputy Minister of Telecommunications, Professor Hlengiwe Mkhize, about that. Find us on SABC Network. That's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za and email. Let's start with your technology and social media news. The biometric systems has been used by financial institutions over the years. Now, the Payment Association of South Africa announced a new biometric authentication standard that will allow South Africans to pay by just using a body feature like the fingerprint.
When the Payments Association of South Africa announced a new standardized specification to facilitate biometric authentication on payment cards, some people got a bit confused, as they thought PASA was introducing a biometric system, something that already exists in the banking sector. We at Network paid PASA a visit to get clarity on exactly how this standard will work.
At the moment, what the banks do, they just verify the validity of your ID number. So it's just a check against the National Data Register to ensure that you are who you claim to be. This standard is a little bit different. The intention is that it could be used in a normal point of sale at a merchant location, or in an ATM environment, or possibly also in the branch environment.
The biometric authentication system could make life easier for people living with disabilities, like Edward Ndopu, founder of Global Strategies on Inclusive Education, otherwise known as GSIE.
When I go into the bank, I'm required to sign in order to get my money out. I'm not able to sign, right, because of my physical condition. So, but biometrics is not offered as a it's there, but I'm still asked over and over again to sign in order to get my money. So these are the access gaps that I'm talking about.
PASA has partnered with two of the world's largest payment service companies, Visa and MasterCard. However, this does not mean that the biometric standard will be compulsory for all South African banks.
It's still a long way to go. I mean, at the moment, as Payments Association South Africa have said, it's Visa and MasterCard that have agreed, and as we know, Visa and MasterCard are the two card manufacturers and transaction processors in the world and in South Africa. So it still has to go to the banks. They still have to put systems in place, and I think for a very long time, and I think Payments Association South Africa also alluded to this, for a very long time you'll still have your PIN and your biometric systems for a couple of years until most people have switched over to the biometrics.
So this probably means that it will take some time before the standards are fully implemented here in South Africa.
Met Eddie Ndopu in the previous insert. Now let's find out a bit more about him. He's just become the first African with a disability to be accepted for a degree at Oxford University in England. He's also received a full scholarship, but Eddie can't use his arms and legs, so he needs to go with his caregiver. There's no money to pay for the caregiver during his stay in England, so an online crowdfunding initiative has started to raise money for Eddie's nurse to go with him. Eddie Ndopu has many achievements under his name. He's been fighting for the rights of people with disabilities.
Before I got in, I was working at Amnesty International, where I was head of the Youth Engagement Program for Africa. And basically, I have always been interested in human rights. My job at Amnesty was to mobilize young people throughout the continent to take injustice personally and to engage in human rights activism and discourse. And so public policy was a natural fit because it's sort of the space that needs to be influenced in order to bring about sort of broad-based equity.
Because of this, he's spoken to world leaders at some of the biggest conferences in the world. Now Eddie has received a full scholarship to go to Oxford University in the United Kingdom. He'll be studying towards a master's degree in public policy there. But there is a major problem.
the package that was offered did not take into account all of the outstanding costs associated with my disability. So full-time care, adaptive technology like voice recognition software, an automated wheelchair, additional medical costs. All of these things weren't factored into the scholarship package that I received.
500,000 rand is needed to take care of Eddie's nurse and carer during Eddie's stay at university. As Eddie can't survive without 24-hour assistance, a social media crowdfunding initiative started.
It's been the most successful way. We've been able to raise 50,000 rand from the community, but we went that route because it's something that we knew most people would identify with, most people would understand, how often access gaps get in the way of people being able to live their best possible lives. And so crowdfunding was about making it more than just about Eddie, but getting a community involved, getting the very people who experience not being able to access the world that they want to live in every single day, to allow people to be part of that journey.
People can pledge money using the hashtag #OxfordEducated. So far, 50,000 rand has been pledged, which means a further 450,000 is needed. As Eddie can't use his arms, hands and legs, he needs help around the clock.
On a daily basis, takes up to 3 hours for him and I to get ready. So we have to wake up quite early. And we get to work at about 9 or 10. But because people are not exposed that much, so they would expect us to come in early, but they don't take into account the fact that we take 3 hours to get ready. So it is quite hard. It is quite hard, yeah.
Eddie has already started an organization that champions the rights of people with disabilities. He says once he has his Oxford master's degree, he plans to engage governments all over the world on how they can improve the quality of life of people with disabilities. But to get there, he needs a lot of support on hashtag #Educated. Bank details are on the initiative's Facebook page. The SABC has launched a one-stop election website. It has live blogs, election news, and you can even check whether and where you are registered.
Local government elections are around the corner, and most of us are looking for information about the political parties in the running. This is why SABC Digital News has decided to launch an election website. Here they have a live blog of election news.
That all our teams right around the country, radio, TV, digital, we bring it together on a homepage where we have an elections block that we update all the time. We show, for instance, some of the latest election videos from television.
Here you can check whether or not you are registered. The website also has information about voting processes.
We also provide information about the parties, and we're about to also load all the candidates, so that one can go in and you can read up about the different parties so that you can make an informed choice. Go and see who's standing in your ward, go and see who's standing in your municipality.
The website will show live election results as they come from the IEC. These will be from the provincial and ward levels. You don't have to worry if you're not in front of a computer, because this site has a mobile version, so you can get your update on the go.
At SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, News Network at sabc.co.za on email. After the break, we chat to Professor Hlengiwe Mkhize, the Deputy Minister of Telecommunications, about Nokia planning to relaunch its devices. Stay with us.
Mr. President, thank you for choosing the moon.
Oh, this view is magnificent. This has to be the proudest day of our lives.
Not hungry, huh?
Is he eating?
Nope.
Okay, Commander. Come with me.
Roger.
5 or 10-second countdown.
Eagle looking great, your go. Roger, looks great, Houston.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Liftoff. You have liftoff.
It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Welcome back. Now, Amazon's drones delivery have gotten a thumbs up from the British government, and Pokemon Go is still making headlines. These are some of the stories that made tech news headlines last week.
With the Olympics right around the corner, world number 6 golfer Bubba Watson has joined forces with the New Zealand-based company to show off what's been dubbed the world's first golf jetpack.
The machine that can really allow people to fly freely and allow people to really use the machine to rescue and searching and save people's lives. And it's very disruptive.
The video was shot by Think Moto at the Methven and Tai Tapu golf courses in Christchurch, but there are no current plans to market the golf jetpack. Speaking of flying objects, Amazon.com Inc. says it has entered into a partnership with the British government to speed up the process for allowing small drones to make deliveries.
The positive message that they're trying to put out there is that the UK wants to be at the forefront of new technology, wants to be pioneering and accommodative to these kind of businesses like Amazon, which are obviously big job creators in the UK.
The US Federal Aviation Administration said last month the use of drones for deliveries will require separate regulation from their general use. Now, what would the tech wrap be without news of the most trending game of the season, Pokemon Go? Hundreds of Pokemon Go enthusiasts flocked to the center of Madrid on Thursday for a mass gathering of gamers that looked likely to spill over into much of the capital's tourist area, while local police advised players to stay put.
I'm here to live the experience and go back to my childhood when we played with Pokemon. I'm here to have fun with my friends, that's all.
I think it's good. Because of the game, people go out more and get to know the city and also spend money. If you're out, you have something to eat or drink. I think it's good in that sense.
Now, as technology is moving to a new phase and increasingly becomes an important part of our lives, some worry that it might come with new dangers like job losses. To discuss this, a conference will take place in Sandton. Recently here on Network, we told you about this machine. It dispenses medication for patients with chronic conditions so they don't have to enter pharmacies. We also told you about this one. It's a mobile biometric system that identifies fingerprints, eyes, voice and veins in order to eliminate paperwork. In order to understand the future and whether machines will take jobs away from us, there will be a conference called Industry 4.0, How Intelligent Machines Will Transform Africa, Opportunity or Peril.
Some people are scared, some people feel that this is what will make Africa develop. So our aim basically is just to say, look, how can we use exponential technology when you look at things like artificial intelligence, robotics, nanotechnology, synthetic biology, to basically try and have inclusive growth in Africa. Because technology, as things technologies, we believe that technology is not just about business, making more profit, more efficient, but it should be about how do we lift millions of people out of poverty.
There's a wide variety of speakers who come from different fields, like Kim Hewlett from Next Biosciences.
The future promise of medical science and technologies such as wearable tech, sensors, AI, AR, VR, robotics, 3D printing, and how the convergence of these various exponential technologies is contributing to the future promise of medical science. And together with the incredible power of biology such as stem cells, genetics and the microbiome, and how we can leverage all of these to enable us to take ownership and invest in our future health so that we not only live longer lives but also much healthier lives.
Industry 4.0, How Intelligent Machines Will Transform Africa, Opportunity or Peril, is taking place on Thursday, 4 August at the Regenesis Business School in Sandton. 2 years ago, no one probably thought Nokia would return, but Nokia is planning to return with Nokia-branded devices. HMD, a newly founded company based in Finland, will be tasked with creating these devices for the next 10 years. In South Africa, Nokia has been embarking on an innovation roadshow. Deputy Minister of Telecommunications, Professor Hlengiwe Mkhize, was also there. She's in the studio to tell us more about this. Hello, and thank you for being a part of our network, Deputy Minister.
Thank you very much, Spumelele.
Now, do you think that the return of Nokia is going to make an impact in the South African mobile phone market?
I think first of all is confidence. in what we're doing in terms of broadband rollout and the whole vision of digitalization. It will certainly make impact in the sense that they are coming back strategically, not focusing on the end user gadgets, but looking at networks and the platforms that they can create to carry the future, like 5G and so on.
Deputy Minister, could you just tell us, you met with them, could you just tell us why they're saying they're choosing South Africa as one of the countries to relaunch in?
I think they are fully aware of our vision for South Africa Connect policy, and also how we are targeting 100% broadband rollout and ensuring that South Africa is connected, including rural communities, so they see sustainability. And basically also they look at the infrastructure that we have from a research point of view and looking at our economy within the continent as a whole.
Are they not worried about the cost of data? A conversation we keep on having in South Africa time and time again. Data is expensive.
I think everybody can see that government is in control. We are engaging the operators, also the regulator, and we are clearly within the ICT policy, reviewed policies, moving towards ensuring that there will be solutions for special groups, university students, people in a certain category, and some operators you have seen coming up with special solutions in terms of data. And so there is a movement. It might have come slowly, but definitely they can see that we are working hard on it.
Why has it been expensive for so long? I understand that you say there's a movement, but why has it been expensive?
You know, it talks to what everybody is worried about, the resistance to transformation in terms of the economy. And I think now everybody is beginning to get it, that when we talk about growth in the GDP, it's not about any other sector except sectors that we are in. We say the same thing to our industry, but also it talks to sustainability and being attractive to investors. So everybody is beginning to buy in now that in terms of the charters that we have come up with, they have to comply. It's in their interest. And we should all have an inclusive agenda for participating in the value chain of the ICTs as well.
And Nokia is on an innovation roadshow. What are they doing exactly? Are they looking at innovations they can provide in the market, or are they looking for innovations happening in our market?
I think they've made a few decisions. Like when they presented to us, it's clearly a serious investment in research and development and innovation, because it all starts with the budget. And they've done that to look at the wireless networks. And they are looking at wireless infrastructure and looking at platforms which can carry the future, that is 5G network. And basically they are looking at the Internet of Things, that there is a promise with the 5G that there will be Internet of Things, so that they can talk, all objects can talk to each other, be it electricity, water, road, the transport system, and so it's the future is really going technology, and they want to be in that space in terms of their networks and the speed at which we can access internet.
As the South African government, how important do you think South Africa is to mobile device manufacturers from around the world?
I think we you know, the 4 billion that is unconnected is partly within this country, but also we are a gateway to the continent. Most multinational companies who are here, they don't operate only here, but they also have a base throughout the continent. And we have a good infrastructure. You can see even the two mobile operators, Vodacom and MTN, they've done very well in this country, and they've been able to penetrate the markets throughout the continent and the world at large.
You spoke briefly about South Africa Connect. What is that exactly?
Well, it's really our policy, which is looking at the ICTs as they are and saying for all people of South Africa should have access to the internet. They should be connected through broadband. We're rolling out starting in rural areas, and I think we've discussed that before. And really, But this strategic move of looking at wireless networks is saying, while we are working on ICT infrastructure, the world is not standing still. We should be looking at the future and saying, how else do we move forward? Hence, network infrastructure and wireless networks in particular, especially the speed at which people can access information.
So the gadgets that you speak about right here, network can function properly. Well, thank you very much, Deputy Minister.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
All right, so that's the Deputy Minister of Telecommunications and Postal Services in South Africa, Professor Hlengiwe Mkhize, joining us there. Now, this week we caught up with Benami Baraza from Kenyan band Sauti Sol. He told us what his favorite technology is.
We all need love, we all need affection, and the way that you're looking at me, I can feel a connection. Unanibamba baby, kwanza navochekecha, kinywaji kwa mkono.
Hey, my name is Benami Baraza, and my favorite innovation has to be Bluetooth. I love how Bluetooth bounces off devices. I love how I can watch something from my phone on the TV. I love how I can bounce something from my phone to a speaker, how I can sense like stuff from me to my friends. Like, I think Bluetooth has really changed the game.
Nakupenda, tena nina imani sana. Ushanitega, we all need someone. Nakupenda, tena nina imani.
Since the first democratic vote in 1994, we were there
to usher in democracy and bring about a new South Africa. Over the years, blow-by-blow coverage of the elections, and now we'll be bringing you
the numbers as they come in on your TV, computer, and even on your phone. Well, think about it as your personal guide to the elections. Get to know why your municipality is hotly contested. Wherever you are, stay updated.
The SABC, the nerve center of South Africa's elections news.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za and email. Welcome back. Now, we played around with the new Vodafone Smart Prime 7. It costs around 2,000 Rand. We liked what we found for that price margin.
When unboxing the Vodafone Smart Prime 7 LTE phone, it becomes immediately evident that they focused a lot on design here. It's a very thin phone at 7.9 millimeters, and it's also very light when one holds it. This device runs the Android 6.0 Marshmallow operating system. Most people immediately go to the camera, as that's the feature they use the most in phones. So the Vodafone Smartphone 7 has a rear-facing 14 megapixel camera. And there's a front-facing 5 megapixel camera for all those who love taking selfies. There's supposed to be 8 gig internal storage, even though some say only about half of that is usable. But you can add more storage with a removable micro SD card. You have to remember that at about 1,800 on prepaid, this is not a high-end device, but for its low price, it offers all the great goodies one needs from a smartphone.
All right, let's see what some people have been sharing on social media. It's been a big political rally weekend in South Africa, so the NCC Angoba rally has been trending. Some have been focusing on the EFF's Tela Tupa rally. Both rallies have been packed. There were those who decided to focus on the Democratic Alliance. The hashtag for that one is I'm voting DA. All right, a new social media trend has people doing the Gwara Gwara dance to Babeswo Dumo's Wololo. We leave you with a compilation of those people who include South African celebrities. That's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. From me and the rest of the network team, have a good one.